Hangovers suck. Sucks to throw up the next morning and just be like, ugh. Oh man, I had a great time with you, baby. Ugh. It's not very fun. Oh no, I was watching ROH, not SmackDown or Raw. Out of the WWE, the only thing I really watch is NXT. I'm actually subscribed to the WWE network, but I'm gonna get rid of it after February. Once my 6-month subscription is over, thank God. I'm kind of getting tired of just Raw and SmackDown. It's not good anymore. I'd rather watch NXT, ROH, independent wrestling, stuff like that. But yeah, even TNA is kind of not as good anymore either. But yeah, I'm more into indies, ROH. NXT just got a new wrestler that's from England and Japan. His name is his name is Finn Balor, but his real name before he joined the WWE was actually Prince Devitt or Fergal Devitt. If you search him on YouTube and look for Prince Devitt versus Pac, who is now in the WWE known as Adrian Neville, you'll watch one of the best matches you've ever seen in your life. It is so good, and he's now quickly becoming my favorite new wrestler. But yeah, Prince Devitt or Fergal Devitt. If you just search him on YouTube, prepare to be amazed. The guy is an amazing talent. But yeah, I like those independent wrestlers, these new up-and-coming wrestlers that are really just super talented, and put people like Triple H, Batista, all these slow, muscly like wrestlers to shame, because these other ones are flashier, they can do high-risk moves, and are tinier, they're not as big, and that's fine because they move faster. Before I streamed, I was watching some ROH. This week's it was actually November 1st. It's a little bit behind, but it was the return of Matt Bourne, as he was known in the WWE, and Matt Sydal, and he wrestled against AJ Styles from TNA, who used to be in TNA. He's now in ROH. A phenomenal one, and they just put on like one hell of a match. A lot better than some of the stuff you see on Raw and SmackDown, man. But like I said, I do watch a lot of NXT, so NXT is coming around. They're the same wrestlers that are from that same federation, ROH, so it's good to see, some really good wrestling on WWE again, instead of like the same boring Hulk Hogan stuff, basically. Oh, thank you, Mavlor. I appreciate that. We're just talking about wrestling. Yeah, Batista. A lot of it had to do with the fact that the fans didn't like him, dude. They were just like, they were calling him Blutista and just like revolting against him. He didn't like that, and I didn't expect that to happen. That was kind of out of the blue that they reacted that way, because mostly fans like that stuff. They're not like me that have that same kind of opinion about wrestling, that don't like that slow, boring, muscly wrestling like that. So I was surprised to see that they were mad about him coming to WWE. Honestly, it was quite a shock. Ray gun, please. Ray gun. Tommy gun's okay. Hell yeah, dude. Okay, now I know you're awesome. Okay. All those names, and you said New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know what I'm talking about then. Yeah. Those are all the best wrestlers. I'm just tired of the WWE, honestly. Like I said, I'd rather watch ROH, people that no one's ever heard of, and those same wrestlers you just mentioned, except with the exception of Brock Lesnar, who came from UFC and OVW and WWE. Those are all independent wrestlers. They're all good ones that no one's ever heard of, and no one gives them. If they're not watching WWE, they don't watch independent wrestling, so they don't know what that stuff is. It's stuff that you have to go out of your way to go and find, out there, especially wrestling from Japan and stuff. You have to go and find it. Go download torrents and stuff, because it's not readily available in America. Only, real hardcore wrestling fans like you and me probably, would go out of their way to go and do that. And nowadays, casual fans aren't into, doing that kind of work and looking for that kind of good wrestling. They're more into just watching what's given to them from the WWE. They don't care. Randy Orton's another great example. He's a good wrestler as far as he doesn't mess up. He doesn't hurt people by messing up on his moves, but he is honestly a very boring wrestler. I just watched, oh, they just kicked me out for no reason, or the person just left. Hell in a Cell, the last pay-per-view, it was Randy Orton versus John Cena for like the 20th, 30th time. It was just boring. I was honestly, straight up, no lie, just going to sleep, just like passing out. I couldn't stand watching it. It's just boring as hell. But as a well-rounded wrestler, he's alright. He doesn't mess up any moves. For what he does, I guess it's good, but it's just not my cup of tea. Like I said, like more flashier, faster wrestling, more stiff wrestling, stuff that's more realistic, more real, kind of like the stuff you watch on NXT, you know, Sami Zayn, stuff like that. Yeah, it's too bad, you know, because the sad thing about Batista also is that the WWE paid like millions of dollars to have him come and wrestle because he's doing this movie. You know, he did that movie with Disney, Guardians of the Galaxy, so his money went up to have him wrestle, and it's, you know, too bad they wasted money and just to have the fans receive him that way. Yeah. Seth Rollins, speaking of independent wrestlers, is a great wrestler as well, and I'm glad he's getting that push that he deserves. He's really talented, does a lot of high-flying moves. Ambrose doesn't really do that same kind, but just his character is so good. And those guys all came from that same ROH, that same old independent wrestling, you know. And they just got hired by WWE, so it's just, this is the future of wrestling. These are young guys that are going to eventually come in and take those people's place anyway, John Cena and Randy Orton and stuff. But you kind of need, like, sometimes you kind of need the Batistas because they are, like, in movies, they have this huge notoriety. They bring in casual fans or people that, you know, have seen the movie and want to see him wrestle. Like, The Rock is even in that same, you know, caliber, even though I like The Rock a lot. Third generation wrestler, you know, I think he's really great on the microphone and stuff, something that a lot of wrestlers aren't good at anymore. But, you know, his style can be considered pretty boring by my standards, but I mean, I think as an overall wrestler, he's pretty good. And you need that person with that kind of just huge notoriety and just like, you know, just being a superstar, being a movie superstar. Attention that he gets from casual fans and people that don't watch wrestling. He brings in all those people because he's in movies like Hercules and stuff. I agree, Seth is the future, man. All those guys from NXT are the future. Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, Kenta, Devitt, all those guys are the future. Even Rollins, you know, he's going to be the next Batista kind of boring wrestler, you know, because he's a big guy, he can do power moves. I would even prefer him over, like, John Cena, for example. John Cena is a lot like Hulk Hogan, and it's just, like, the same boring moves, and I, for one, am kind of getting tired of it. I think it's time to make way for other new people and just, you know, let him rest. Just put him to pasture. Maybe he'll turn bad guy just like Hogan did after a couple of years. That would be kind of cool. So he can reinvent himself. But, yeah, he's just been pushing people down and not letting them get to the top because he's just always on top himself. Bo Dallas, yeah, even Bo Dallas is alright. I would prefer him over a bunch of other wrestlers. If you watched him on NXT, he was the champion of NXT for a little while, but people didn't like that. They wanted someone else to be a champion like Sami Zayn. And now that he's over on Raw and SmackDown, he's just a joke. He's not treated seriously. Same with Cesaro ever since he left like NXT too. Great wrestler, but just squash him all the time. Yeah, Bo Dallas's dad is IRS, if you guys remember from way back in the day. Or that's his dad, and then Blackjack Mulligan is his grandpa, which is, you know, that's a lot of history right there as far as wrestling goes. It's like two good people to have as your grandfather and father. A lot of experience right there. Ace Fizzy, if you're still in the stream, I would recommend, if you're into wrestling a lot, to check out something called U-Shoots by Kayfabe Commentaries. They're you can probably torrent them or just find them online if you're lucky. or buy them. They're worth buying some of them. They're basically interviews with wrestlers that they call shoot interviews. They're real interviews, you know, about the real person and stories behind the scenes that you don't get to find out that's going on. It's just they're really interesting to watch because it's a new look on stuff that you like. You know, it's just like, for me, it's just really interesting to watch that kind of stuff. Opening the side doors so we can get more points and make it harder for everybody. Makes the rounds go quicker. Just can't sit here having fun being too easy, right? Bray Wyatt is really good too. Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think his gimmick is really amazing. It's something new. It's almost like a fresh look on Undertaker, almost homage. A lot of people ask like why him and Dean Ambrose are having a feud together, and I think it's just because they're two weirdos, you know? I mean, what more do you have to do? It's like, hey, I'm wrestling you because you're weird and I'm weird. I'm trying to board up this window. Do you mind, zombie? Yeah, kayfabe commentaries, they have something called U-shoots. They have people basically send them questions, and they're usually really weird people. And but they're really fun to watch. They're funny, they're entertaining, and they also have this other series called KC Timeline, Kayfabe Commentaries Timelines, and they do the history of, like, for example,